Wednesday Fun Day, and today it's Doctor Who. You've asked us for it and we've sat down and designed it. So we really hope you love this TARDIS. It's not too complex a drawing, but where we're really going to have some fun is with this painting as well afterwards. So stick with us and make sure you do the whole thing. Let's get painting. Okay, so we've got our bit of warm-up paper here, and before we start our TARDIS, I want you to just do lines for me today. So many straight lines in this TARDIS. We're probably going to use a ruler as well, but I've talked about these lines before. Getting a good straight line, it's all about practice. So now I'm going to cross it. If I turn the page round, I can do more. Holding my pencil nice and softly, really relaxed. And every day, if you get a scrapple bit of an envelope or something, and you're sitting there with a pen or a pencil, as long as it's not an important piece of paper, obviously, Mum and Dad might not be too happy about that, but just do a few lines, and the more you practice, the better your lines will be. Right, let's go into outer space. So I'm going to do the drawing today in my watercolour sketchbook. This will be perfect for it. Look, let's have a little sneaky peek. That was Secret Life of Pets and a bit of Mario. But here, I'm going to do it, my TARDIS here, and then I'm actually going to do my Dalek there. So I'll just turn it around like this and get started. Now, let's have a little think. That's about halfway through. I always like to note to myself where's about halfway on the page. I'm going to do the same on my guide sheet, so that'll give me an idea then. And then what I want is 3 diagonal lines here. So I'm going to go to about, let's see, if that's halfway, that's about a quarter, and I'll come in just a little bit. And I'm going to do a line. I'm going to use my ruler for this to get it really straight. There's one line. There's another line there. And then I'm going to come right out to here. But see how I've got all these lines they're all in the same angle. They're parallel to each other. Then I'll go there like that for the third. So there's my 3 lines. I do not want my TARDIS to be anywhere near this big. I'm going to rub these out when I find the rubber that my son's stolen. But we will start with these 3 lines, and I'm going to go about just over a quarter of the way down, about there. And what I want to do is put a mark here, and I'm going to take it up there like that. Or just use your ruler if you want to make sure you get a really straight line. So we'll cut it off there, and then I'm going to come down to here and parallel to that again, so same angle, down here, I'm going to go like that. I want to leave plenty of room around it because I really want to do this fabulous space starry sky in watercolour. So I'm going to go like that. There's my box. So we've got this sort of, it's a rectangle tilted that we've got there. That line's going to carry on, but this line here, what I want you to do is to take it up and out, as if it's a triangle. So we're going to take it up and then like that. And then I'm going to just pause now. And if you get these shapes in, and whilst I'm pausing, I'm going to go and try and find where my son is, who's taken my rubber, and we're going to get rid of all these marks, and we'll come back and move on to the next stage. Okay, so we've got our basic shape here. I've rubbed out those extra lines. I found the rubber, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do a line there, in slightly. So 2 small lines and then in. And this is going to be the top of the TARDIS here. And then we're going to go up and across like this. And then thinking about exactly in the middle, small spot there, and just take it so you've got this kind of triangle on the top. Is it starting to look a bit more TARDIS-like now? I think so, a little bit. We've still got a fair way to go though. Now if we come down here, what we're going to do is we're going to draw essentially another rectangle inside here that exactly mirrors it. So coming down there, what I'm going to start with, you can draw it freehand or you can draw it with a ruler. But I want you to come in from the top. You're coming in about just under a centimetre, really, about there. You see there? And the same, I'll just do this freehand so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. And the same, take it all the way to the top and coming in about there. Okay, so we've got that bit in between, and then coming exactly halfway through, because this is going to be the door. I will do this with a ruler. I'm going to give myself a couple of dots guidance, and that's the door line there. So we're starting to get our little box in. Now coming up here, we see we've got that line there. What I want you to do is just take that down to there. And then you'll see on the guide sheet, that's like a dotted line. We're going to rub that out. And we've got all of the basic shapes now. So we're all ready to put in the details. So if you pause, get in that bit, get the square, get the door in, and then we'll move on to the finishing bits. Now, all the keen-eyed observers of you will have noticed in the last bit that I missed a step out, which was just a line here. So if you pop that line here, and I'm going to rub that out there, because that is going to be the bit that says police box on it. So we've got that bit there. Right, let's go up to the top now. 2 small lines here, and then we've got a curve. That's going to be the bit that's at the top of the TARDIS there, the light. So if we come down to this bit here, it's not too complicated, but just stick with me here. I'm going to go up in a line. Then I'm going to take the line down to there. So there's some quite complicated perspective here. And all I'm doing is by dividing it down into shapes, is breaking it up like that. As part of the little art school course, we do go into all this, not with TARDISes, but with different landscapes where we talk about perspective. So that's any of you that are out there who are on the course and have done level 2 term 1 on perspective, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. So the next thing we're going to do in that little box, I just want you to very lightly, because it'll just help us when we come to it later. I want you to write police box. And then down this side, in between those 2 lines, this is the side of the TARDIS. I just want you to put 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. That's going to give the impression of the squares that are all the way around, and we're going to do those on here. So underneath the police box bit, we've got 2 lines on each side, 1, 2, and then we've got 6 boxes. So for these 6 boxes, this is what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, then underneath, 1, 2, 3, and I'll join those. And I'm going to do that exactly the same here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'll join those. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Now, this lesson was specially requested by, well, first of all, it was Isla McMaster, who comes to our classes in Troon, and in fact, Elizabeth is her teacher. Is that right, Elizabeth? Yeah. Yeah, and I know Elizabeth's really, like all our little art school teachers, really missing her class. So Isla, it was lovely to hear from you. It's a super idea. I wouldn't have thought of it because I was always terrified of Doctor Who. I used to hide behind the sofa when my brother watched it. But it's been really good fun doing these drawings, so well done for your excellent suggestion. I hope you love it, and I hope you go on to do the Dalek as well. Right, now for these, what I want you to do is 1, 2, and then again underneath it, 1, 2, and again 1, 2. And these are kind of quite loose squares. I don't want them to be really rigid squares. That's just the bottom of the box, and just do exactly the same on the other side. I think that's us done then, possibly. Elizabeth at this point always has a look at the guide sheet to see if there's anything I've missed out. Anything I've missed out, Elizabeth?
I don't think so.
Don't think so? Think we've got it all? Think Isla will be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah? Make sure you send us your picture, Isla. Okay, and there is our completed police box. We are going to paint that now, so stick with us and watch the amazing things we do with paint. So we're going to start by putting in stars in our starry sky, and what we're going to do is we're going to use I'm just using a twistable, but all it is a white crayon. If you've not got a white crayon, just a white candle or something. The aim is to get some wax down on this paper in small spots. So I'm just going to start here while I'm talking, and sorry about Cooper, he's so desperate to join in now. What I'm doing is I'm pressing quite hard to get the wax down, and I'm just doing lots and lots of little tiny dots, quite randomly. I don't want them to look like they're in a pattern. I just want them to be really random. This will look really nice in the picture at the end. So going all over. Now I've asked my children to pull together Doctor Who things, and look what I've got here. I'll show you this while I'm doing the dots. The wit and wisdom and timey-wimey stuff for Doctor Who, which I just had a quick read of, and it's quite funny. So if you're Whovians, Elizabeth found out what they're called. Doctor Who fans are Whovians. If you're a Whovian, you might really hope you like this picture. If it's not entirely accurate TARDIS, it's my artistic interpretation of one. So try not to judge me. Right, here we go. So I've got my little wax dots. You can't see them, but they're all over that page now. So with my crayon that I've just used there. And now I'm going to mix myself 2 washes. Here we go. I've got 1, 2. I don't want them to be too dark. So I've got a couple of colours underneath there to guide me. That's when I was doing the practice one. Now this colour here is a very purpley blue. Now let me try it out. Oh yeah, that's what I want. I want it to be dark enough so that the wax shows. I might put a bit more in, but not too dark because I really want the TARDIS to show from it. Right, and then I'm going to have a purple as well. So the bits around the TARDIS, I'm going to do purple so it really jumps out from them. Can you see there? Oh, it's a lovely colour. Right, now what I need to do is make sure that my brush is clean. So I've got my Artist's Best Friend, otherwise known as kitchen roll. Nice clean brush here, and I'm going to just take water and all round the TARDIS I'm going to go with just pure water, nothing else. This is so that I know exactly the effect I want here. With watercolour, it's never entirely predictable, so you just kind of hope. And sometimes it surprises you and it's about 50 times better than you were desperately hoping for. Now the key here is this paper. So even though it looks like I'm just doing this on a sketchbook, it's not a sketchbook, it's a watercolour sketchbook, the ones we sell in our shop. So that's going to work. Now look, can you see as I go around the edges here, how it sort of sends out these tendrils into the water? That fab. And look, can you see the stars are starting to come up as well? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for a quite random effect around. But I don't want to go on to my actual TARDIS itself. And that's what watercolour does. It really can surprise you with its effects that it comes up with. I think I want even more water there. I'm going to just drop water into the edges and let it flow down like that. All around the edge of the TARDIS. So you can go right to the edge if you like. So I've gone right to the edge on that side and on that side, or you can just go almost to the edge and let the paint do its own work. And I've done that on those 2 sides there. Now what I'm going to do in the edges here is I'm going to take the blue. I might hold the paper slightly because I don't want to get it onto my other pictures behind. I'm not going to go right to the edge of the paper. Can you see how the stars are coming up? So this is my purpley blue, and I want it to join in with my purple. So it's as if the light from the TARDIS is turning the sky a kind of purple around it, but then further away we're going into that darker blue there, and I'm just going to let them run into each other for that effect. And the stars have come up really nicely there. So I'm going to leave that to dry, during which time Elizabeth and I are going for a cup of tea and a bit of banana bread, and then we'll come back and finish it off. So we're going to do pretty much all of this using this blue watercolour pencil. If you've only got your palette paints, just paint the whole thing with the blue from your paints, and then go over with black for a few bits. I'm going to use a bit of black, and I'm going to use hardly any yellow. Look, I'm just going to put that in now, and then I'm going to put it away. That's just the handle on the door, and that's it. Yellow's away. And then I've got a bit of black. I want to shade just down here slightly so that it's a bit darker. It's just that bit there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the bit here where the police box. I've had to really think about this. I was really thinking about it last night, how I was going to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around like that. Can you see? So I'm almost doing like a, what would you call that, Elizabeth?
Like bubble writing.
Like bubble writing, really. So that when I've coloured around the black, the white will stay in. You'll be able to see that it says police box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like that, around it. And then when I come to turn it to paint, I'm going to do all that at the end, the paint turning. There we go. And now I'm going to go in with my blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around every line. Here up at the top, I might put a couple of little lines in there, but I'm just going to go like that. Now, if you feel better doing this with your ruler, you can get your ruler and keep your lines nice and straight. What I'm doing, because this is a watercolour pencil, is I'm putting the pigment down on the page. I'm going really hard here because I want to be able to lift that paint with my brush to paint the whole of the TARDIS. And you can see as I'm doing this, I'm just turning the book. It's so handy. So if you're interested in any of these things, I'm using the palette or the watercolour pencil. I know it's upside down, Elizabeth. Or the sketchbook. I was doing it upside down on purpose. The sketchbook, or just have a little look on our website and you'll find all of it on there at the Little Art School online shop. So you can see I'm just going round every single one. I'm not going to keep them too neat, these squares. I almost don't want them joining. I'm just going to go like this. Because when I put the paint on, when I put the water to turn it to paint, what will happen is these lines that I'm putting will stay. What I might do with this actually is just go in between like that. 1, 2, 3. Like that. And then I'm going to go around that there like that. Okay, so that's all my paint down really. There's a couple of bits I want to be a bit darker. So I'm going to go here like this, put a bit more there, I'm going to put a bit more there. All this is going to get lifted by my brush. So just giving that a quick get rid of all the paint. Then I'm going to go in my water. I'm using the sort of middle-sized brush here. Now I'm going to start at the top because I want this to be slightly lighter. So I'm only going to take a bit in there. I want to keep the white there at that bit at the top, which I believe is a light. I am not a Whovian. I cannot pretend to know anything about Doctor Who due to my terror of Doctor Who. Now what you can see is I'm lifting here bits of the colour, but this bit I want to be darker. So look, I'm really getting my brush in there, getting that pigment. I'm going to take it to the side. There we go. And steer clear of the black. I'll take it to the edge, but no further than that. And my brush is still loaded with this blue paint, but every time I feel like I'm running out, I can just go back, touch the paint pigment that I've put down with the watercolour pencil, and I'm picking more of it up there. And I'll do the same along here. Now here, because I've put so much, you see I'm getting it darker, which gives the impression that just that bit is in shadow, the bit that's turning away, which is what I want. But watch here. Even though it's turning to paint, I can still see those lines, which is what I want. So it really keeps that. It's absolutely brilliant, this stuff. Right, here we go. As I go over here, I want to keep the lines, but make sure I've got the blue. I'm going to do that everywhere. It's a very, very quick, efficient way of painting. I like mixing it up. I like using a bit of the watercolours. You'd struggle to get that effect so much with the watercolour pencils, and I'm so happy with the wax resist. There we go, and that's, you can see how much darker that is because I put so much more pigment on, and I'm collecting that bit of black in because I want that slight shadow just down that edge. Give my brush a clean with this top bit. I'm going to turn it here, but I'm going to leave those because they're like the windows at the top of the box, aren't they? Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to finish it with my small brush with a tiny bit of water. So I'm going to squeeze that. And then I'm going to be super careful here going around because I want to retain those letters. You see? So I'm turning that to black, but I'm keeping those letters as they are. So I really hope you've enjoyed that. And if you want more Doctor Who, then you can go over to the seniors and you can do the Dalek, which we've got there. And Isla, I hope you're happy with that. Thanks for your idea. Keep sending your ideas in, guys. They're great. I'm putting them all on my list, so they will come up eventually because we've got a few weeks of this to go yet. Hope you really enjoyed that and that you enjoyed playing with paint and messing about with it. And if you've done it in pens, pencils, whatever you've done it in, we still really want to see it. So make sure you send it to us on the comments. Now, if you're a big Doctor Who fan and you fancy a bit more Doctor Who today or even later in the week, have a look at the senior one because they've got a Dalek. Otherwise, we will be back tomorrow. Thursday's Draw with the Grandparents' Day, and Elizabeth's got a really special, lovely little postbox for us. So we will see you tomorrow.